Hello everyone, I hope you are doing great. So finally we are back with our community learning sessions, right? I know I took a break of around 1.5 months because I am still busy. I was busy with the projects as well as the personal front. Still there are too many things to be done, but I thought of starting somewhere. And uh, we'll start slowly. So the intent of doing this or recording this video was that I wanted to, one is that start something or make something which is for our SAP UI5 beginners, right? Why? Because I think it is always the beginners who face the most tough challenge, how to get into something new, right? Although we have our ongoing series SAPUI5 for ABAPers going on, but I thought of recording this video. The intent was that because normally I see there are many people record very awesome videos where they say that okay, let's develop some 10 projects in Python and in JavaScript in different languages, right? So I said, okay, why can't we do it in SAPUI5? Let's have 5 different projects of 5, 10, or whatever is the number in one go, right? And that will, that those projects can be very basics, can be very trivial, also can be bit advanced, can be they'll be using different controls. So the intent is that by working with those different 10 different or a number of projects, we'll be able to understand the different concepts of UI5. We'll also be able to explore different what do we say, the different controls, how do they work and all that stuff. So that was the first intention. Okay, so let's create some projects in SAP UI5. They can be very minor and simple projects also, but they can be complex. Second was I wanted to do it everything locally in our VS Code. Earlier I thought, why can't I do it in Business Application Studio? But then I thought, okay, let's do something which is local, right? And for local, what we will do is SAP has already come up with SAP Fiori tools. They have come up with UI5 tooling. So we'll do the setup also, okay? And then we'll start building projects from scratch. So and I hope it makes sense, and by this you'll able to learn. And about the others, CDS for ABAPers and SAP UI5 for ABAPers final video, and Node.js for ABAPer final videos, it might take me some more time to do it, right? But I thought initially, why can't we start with this? So intention is, in this video, I don't know for how long it will go, how many times I have to sit and record it, but intent is to create some number of projects, see them working locally, and learn something new from each one of them. So I'll say, let's start it. Okay, so where do we start? So I think the most important thing for us is the setup. So let me open 2 windows in parallel, and if you look at this, SAP UI5 has come up with the local tooling which I can use locally, right? So what we'll be doing is, one, we will be installing the UI5 CLI locally, right? And then we will be using our UMan generator to basically generate the templates, for example the starting one, the first project one, and then we will expand that project, right, to build on it. Okay, so if you go to sap.github.io/UI5 tooling, you'll have this very beautiful documentation. So what happens is, if you look at other toolings, like if you look at for Angular, for React, everyone has developed a very user-friendly, a developer-friendly tooling where you can develop SAP, right, locally in your system. For example, earlier we used to work it started with Eclipse. We were working in Eclipse, and then from there to WebID. Now WebID was again a cloud-based tool, right? Then from there we have Business Application Studio, but then because the world is going crazy around VS Code, so that's why now we have a not VS Code also, as well as Node also, and CLI based tooling. So that's why we have a typical CLI based tooling also now available for our UI5 development. So we'll see what to do. So first is, before you do anything, you need to install the Node.js, right? And so if I say, if you just go to Node.js, and you can download this one, and all you need to do is next, and it will install it, right? So once, for example, if I say what version I have 12.18.1, right? And so what I need to do is now is, assuming that you have also installed Node, so what you need to do as a first step is you need to install Ei5 CLI, right? So I'm just installing it, and if you look at it, I've just created one folder, right? I already had that installed right now, so it will do it again, and now it is done. So we have now basic CLI installed. Now what it says is that in order to use this local tooling, right, you need to basically have your template project ready, but we don't have anything. If you look at here, it's all blank, right? So what has SAP done is it has provided us Node.js with basically human based generators, right? So it's like human is an npm module where you can generate templates. So all you need to do is go to npmjs.com and then search for generator SAPUI5 templates, right? I could have done it in other ways, like I could manually create that web app folder and then inside it manifest.json and all that stuff, which we have already covered in our SAPUI5 for Webper series. So I thought of rather than this, maybe I can do it like why don't we use a human generator, right? So all you need to do is just go here, and I say npm install -g is globally, so it will be available to everyone, right? And let it install. So let this thing get finished, and then we'll start using it, right? So the intent is that we'll have our everything done locally, and then we will use it, right? So in case it is installed, I can okay, so it is installed, and I can just maybe in interest of this, and I can have it something like on this side so that it is better visible, right? And so now maybe let's look at what different options do we have. So if you look at your generators, if you use this command, one is a template, work list, master detail, work list to data or data version 4. We don't want to use any template because we will have our basic template with that structure, and then we will add everything custom, and later we'll build different projects. So for that also we have this option of easy UI5. So what I will do is I'll say easy UI5 new web app. I want to create a new web app, so I'll do that, because you can also use this to add a new view, new control, like the same we have in our Angular stuff, right? So my UI5 app, I'll name it as TGs for our technology enthusiasts people community, TETS projects, and let it be com.te, right? Static one, I don't want to deploy to any cloud foundry or anything. XML views, of course. Main view is I'd prefer it as a main. UI5 library to be served from, of course, locally. Yes, I want a new directory. So let it run. So now if you look at this, it has already created this folder: UI module, web app, component, base controller, manifest, typical stuff, right? So this is what we need, just a template to start with. So once we have this setup done, so then maybe we can start working on first of our basic projects. So let's just wait till it get finished. So now it has finished creating our template. So maybe let's just have a look. So com.t was our namespace, space.t projects, okay, and then inside it there is this basic structure, right? And inside it, if you look at the UI module, we have this our web app, so which is typically controller, view, manifest file, the component.js. We'll walk through all. We'll work with these throughout our whole projects, and we'll also look at this YAML file also. Maybe let me just hide for the time being. So let me just make it a bit bigger. So this YAML file also we'll have a look at. So we'll talk about what is this, how do we add libraries, how do we add, what is the middleware. Slowly, once we are through with this, we'll understand what is the use of them. Okay, so now maybe what I can do is I can go to cdcom.te projects just to check whether everything is working fine or not, and pm start. Maybe let me make it a bit here. So it is using UI5, which is a CLI serve. Then it goes to YAML file, right? And then in YAML file, it's find this details of open index and .html. So here is the path, right? Web path. So that's why it goes there and open this. And let's then look at this, right? What it has opened. So you can see this. It's nothing but a basic view with a title, which is here coming from here, right? And so I think our setup is good, and we can start building our different projects. So we have our basic setup is ready, and one good thing is, for example, if I change this to 1, I don't need to even press 1 also, so it automatically updates and live reload. How does it live reload is, if you go here, so that's where slowly we dig into the UI5 YAML, the local CLI tooling. Is it has another middleware which name is live reload. Okay, so what it does is, if we change anything under this path, which is nothing but our folder path, right, then it automatically reloads things, right? And if we are here, if you look at this, so we have also defined, we are using these libraries: UI core, mobile, layout, and this theme, and this version. If you want, you can use a different version, and the good thing is that you can add your own the libraries, whatever libraries you want to use apart from SAPUI5. For example, if you want to use SAPUI.fe, you can add that. We'll see once we start building things. We'll keep them exploring. Okay, so now let me just first reverse it to meaningful title. Will be like our TE projects, right? And title shall also be something like T projects, SAPUI5 projects for beginners, right? So now this thing is pretty fine. I think it looks okay, and let me maybe I'll have a shell also, because so we have everything ready with us now. So where do we want to start? So let me make it a bit smaller, and close. So maybe to start with, we'll have some kind of custom tiles. Each tile will point to one project. For example, this is project A, project B, project 2, project 3, project D, E, F, whatever. You click on it and you will go inside and work through that app. So now the good thing is we are going to use our the SAPUI5 sample code also, right? So maybe first set up, let's see how do we set up the tile. Maybe let this page be the main page, right? And this inside this container we load our tiles view, our different stuff, right? So let's just look at this tile. For example, sales fulfillment, this is subtitle, this will have only the title, nothing else, right? What kind of app it is. So I think it makes sense that if we have a kind of a JSON file, maybe if I go here and I just say I need a file here and let that file be tiles.json. okay, so why I'm using it is, I don't want to hard code these each of tile like this. Each time we work on a new project, we add a tile here, we add those values here, and it automatically will take care of the things. So we can have kind of all the tiles defined in our JSON file. So let it be an array, and each array is an array of objects. So I think you will need only the title, right? So I will say title is, for the timing, let's just call it as first project. Okay, and then another thing we will need is, if you click on it, what route to take, right? So let it be a route. So it says first, okay, and then I have I just copy paste it, add another one, it's my second project, and if I click on it, it should move to second. Okay, so now we have defined our JSON file, right? Now the important thing is, if you just press save, this thing refresh, and if you look at this, I have added a shell here in our main view, right? And if I just make it big, you can see this shell is already there. Okay, so tiles we have done. Now we don't want to use or kind of have hard coded pages or views here. So what I will do is, we'll create first a new view, okay, and maybe let me just copy it and paste it, right? And let me rename this to tiles.view.xml. okay, and same way I say copy main controller and I paste it, and I say this is my tiles controller. So basically I'm not changing any main view, let that be a container, and inside it we basically bring in our own different views or get loaded via navigation and routing. Okay, so if I look at tiles view, it is let me make it this thing bit smaller and this thing bit bigger. Okay, so that you're able to read. Now I'm just correcting the name of the controller here, and in controller also I have tiles, right? So now I want to have we want to have the tiles. First of all, let me remove this, we don't need this, right? And in our tiles view also we don't need shell and all, right? All we need is just a view with its content, and this will get called dynamically and loaded inside this app, whose ID is ID app control. Now I want the tiles to be loaded, right? Now if I look at these tiles, do we have, because our tiles is we want to generate them dynamically, and we want to bind it so that it's like a list. It automatically grows based on the content of our JSON file, right? So if there are two titles here, so it shall have two tiles. So maybe then let's just let me try to look at this API, right? SAPM.generic title, and let's see if we have any parameters. No, nothing. Any properties? This additional tooltip, type, area label, description, background image, frame type, and all. Unfortunately, an aggregation. Let's just check. Do we have anything in aggregations? In aggregations, all I have is an icon which can be 0 to 1, and then I have a deprecated one, right? A content, right? So the style content is deprecated. So that means I cannot make a model which points towards this to generic tile so that it iteratively generates it. So that means I have to contain inside something else, right? Now what that something else can be, so it can be what do we call it? It can be a layout, right? What if we have something like let me go to samples, and if I just search layout, let's first search horizontal layout, right? Horizontal layout. And if I look at this, and if I just look at this, and I'm going to the API, and I go towards aggregations. Wow, so you can have 0 to n number of content. So what if we have one horizontal layout, inside it I give one tiles, and I bind this horizontal layout to our this model which is created on tiles, so it will automatically loop through it and generate those tiles. And for the sake of simplicity, I will keep this horizontal layout inside a vertical one. Okay, so let me just open a tiles, right? And since this belongs to a layout class and we don't have it, right? So I will create that tag here. XMLNS is :L is equal to sap.ui.layout, right? And since we are developing it locally, so you will see that once we start created this project, so this library is already added here, right? So that means it is already available for us to use. In case we need to add more libraries, which we will soon, so we'll see how do we do it in our via the CLIs. Okay, so now I have created this, right? So what I will say is let this be a page, okay, whose ID is tiles, let's say, right? And I say show header is false because I don't need anything here because the header will come from there, and I will close it. Okay, right? Now inside this page we'll have I'll have first a vertical layout 1, right? And inside it I'll put the horizontal layout, and then inside horizontal layout it will flow. So let's say there are 6 tiles, it will flow 1 2 3 4 5 6, and it will automatically adjust all in one space. And if you look at samples, instead of vertical layout, I think it also belongs to the same class. If you look at this, it belongs to the same class, sap.ui.layout, and this is how normally it arranges it vertically, right? So I'll have this vertically one, inside it will be like one column, inside it I'll have a horizontal layout, so you arrange it in a very fluid way, right? So now what I will say is in case you have to use this any control from this class, you have to use the tag L colon vertical layout and slash L colon. In fact, I'll add some extensions. I saw somewhere that this also can be added so that I can type it more fastly. And now inside this vertical layout, let me have a horizontal layout. Horizontal layout and slash. So we are good. Let me just Control C, Control F. Okay, so we have a horizontal layout. Now horizontal layout has a property, right? We saw that. So let me just again go to API and I say horizontal layout, right? So what does it have is aggregations, and it has an aggregation for content, right? So we'll have something here for contact, what we will see soon. And then what else do I need? What property does it have? Allow wrapping, specify whether the content layouts will be line wrapped. Yes, let's have allow wrapping is equal to true, right? And what else do I need? Content I will see here, this, that's it, right? Now inside it, let's first resolve this question mark, right, where we will learn something new. Okay, so now I have to create a model. Model is something is like you read data from, whether it is from a file, from a database or something, and then you set that model, and that data is available in the views, and views can basically use it. I'll bind it. So what I will do is I'll go here to tiles controller, and we'll be creating a JSON model, right? So what JSON model, right? I'll be using this. So this is the one. So what I will do is I'll add it as a dependency, SAPUI/UI/model JSON model, right? And this module I've added, and what I want is once this view is loaded, so the first method which is usually get triggers is on init, right? And I say function this, right? And so I've just formatted it, right? So what do I want? So first of all, I want to read that file. So how do I read it? I say let my tiles model is equal to new JSON model, right? And here is where the magic happens. So I give it a path. So this is the path is basically I move out of this, and then I go to model. So in case you have to move out, you need to say dot dot, and then I say I go to model / tiles dot JSON, right? So now this has the data, right? And then what do I say? I say this dot get view dot set model, right? And my tiles model, and let's define the name as tiles. Okay, so now we have a model. This name is tiles, and this tiles, so this thing will load this data, right? And then I'm setting this model on this view, which is this view, tiles view, right? So now if I go to my now front end, and I say this thing will refer to my tiles model and path and close. Okay, and now comes the generic tile. So we'll have to, sorry, I have to go to again copy paste the sample code, right? So we'll use this code, and something like generic tile is already inside sap.m. It is using a default namespace, and same also we have here, right? So all I need to do is this, right? I don't need this tile content, very clear, right? And then I don't need a subheader, and all I need is Control K, Control F, and let me go here. The header, yes. This is, since we have already defined the path, so all I need right now to say is tiles creator, which field it is. This field is title, right? So if I say just title and done, right? So if you look here, what else is missing, man? Something I missed. So if I go to console, this the status with this. Okay, 1 second, let me make it a bit bigger. What is not found? What is not found? Let's just resolve it. What is not found? Something is bothering it. 18 and this. Okay. So we missed one thing. We have not defined anywhere how do we load this view, right? It is coming blank because we have made it blank. Now we need to define that routing, right? Now if you look at component.js, the router is already initialized. All I need to do is give it a path. So what I need to do is I need to go to my route, right? And here I already have a route. One route is already there, and what I will do is I will create another route. So I will say, I'll just copy paste it, right? And I'll say this name is tiles, pattern is blank, so that's the default route, and target is also my tiles view. Where is this? My tiles view here, right? This is not a view, it's a target tiles, and I will define the target. So here is one target which is defined, right? So I'll define now another target which is tiles, and view type is this, view ID is app control, view name is tiles. So whenever the URL, let me make this, whenever the URL is default blank, there is no, it's like a no pattern is there, right? Then it shall call this target. This target means that we have to call this view, and this view will get view ID is this, right? And control ID is what, because we need to tell that where this this view will kind of go, right? So we'll say control ID is this one, ID app control, and I don't need this view level as of now. So all I just need to say is that okay, when you load this view you need to go there, right? And if I now open something, so it says cannot read name of null. Okay, so let's just put a reload, and let's see first whether do we have our file loaded. Where is what is the name of my file? Tiles.json. No, it is not. So let me just go to sources, model is there. There is this, my controller is not being loaded, okay, which is okay. So I say name is tiles, and then I have pattern as black, target is tiles. There is the issue. So now hopefully, let's see. Oh wow, so we have our first tile now loaded, right? And you see this is automatically loading these stuff from my models tiles.json. Now if I just copy paste this, so I'm just doing it for the just to showcase, it automatically will reload and add more. So you keep on adding, and it is how it looks like, right? And so now let me just remove this, right? And now if I press this, so now what is not working is this click, right? It shall navigate to somewhere, right? So let's just look at our view first. View, and view has a Let me just put an enter here. So view has a press attribute which is assigned to press, right? And now if I just have defined a new function, right? So which says press. For the timing I'll just have a parameter here, but I don't know what value will be there, but let's just say alert I am pressed, right? And so the moment you click it says I am pressed, but we need to pass that value, right? So somehow this press needs to be modified. So what we will do is this value, right? This value already exists in our route, right? So what I'll say is you pass this as a route, okay? And then I go here and I say route, and let's see if it works or not. I'm just trying out things. So we have a route, and no, it doesn't work. It says expected colon, but instead so this. 1 second. Yeah, okay. Because we are using this expression syntax, I need to put a dollar here, and then I expect this to work. Now it shall be passed. If I click here, see, yeah. Now let me just make it big. So if I click here seconds, it shows second. It shows. If I click here, it shows first. Okay. So let's just do a small debug here to see how it works, right? So if you click here, the route, whatever value is being passed from that XML view is coming here, route. And now even let's just look at this model also, right? So if you go here and I say get model tiles, right? And dot get JSON. So it has the same data which is there, and in case this is a string you want to parse it, so you need to use JSON dot parse in front of it, and then you are good, right? So you get a JSON with 2 objects, same like which we have, right? And so in case you just say model and then inside it you'll be able to see under raw data that these two are there, right? Okay, so let me just say what do I say? I just say I keep it this way, and let me just now we'll start with the first project. So I'll remove this tile, right? I don't need as of now, so all I need is first project. So finally, after I think around first spending around I don't know how much time, we are able to set up and run our basic local setup is done, and we have our tiles in the plan is ready, right? So which project do you want to start with? So there are different projects. Many will be simple, many will be a bit complex, but each project will make us learn something new. For example, even setting up this tile, we went through layout, a vertical one, that okay, you have a vertical container, inside it you have a horizontal layout container, that whatever is inside it is going to be placed like this and this, right? It's like a horizontal one. And then we explore generic tile, right? So we explored three controls inside one, right? And along with it we had use shell also, that is also another control, right? So four controls in just one setup, right? So which is good, I think. So next is, I think we have SAPUI5 Cli around the corner, right? So why don't we build something around it? So it has a December 8 to 10 2020, right? So on December 8, from December 8 it is starting, and does it have any countdown timer? No. So let's build our own countdown timer in our SAPUI5, right? So first project, let's call it as SAPUI5 Cli 2020 countdown, right? So this is the first project, and let's call this route as countdown. Okay, and or maybe first, I think, because I would like to name the views as first, second, third, fourth, because then you'll be able to link which view talks about what. But we can have multiple views also, right? So let's name it as the route will be this, but our views will be more meaningful. Okay, so let's have a new folder. It will be countdown, right? And since we want a very basic countdown, which will be like, it shows some kind of the SAPUI logo at the top, and then it shows something like 3, 4, 5 buttons showing the countdown till the first session when it's going to start, or session, or till 8 December. That's what I plan to do. So we'll have a view. I'll copy tiles view to save me time, right? And I will rename it to countdown. Okay, and since we have now a countdown one, so inside controller also, okay, let me first create a, let me close others, and let me create a controller folder and countdown, and I copy the countdown, or not this, I will copy the countdown controller here, and let this be countdown. Okay, and so it will be countdown dot countdown, right? And similarly this will be not here, yes, this has to go here. Also will have countdown controller. Where is the controller notation? Under controller countdown dot countdown, right? And what do we have here? So I don't want to have a vertical layout, right? So let's just as of now, let's just leave it blank, right? And so I have this view also, we have this, but we have not defined our JSON, our route, right? So the route name is, what we have kept is as first, right? So I go to manifest.json, I copy this, and I say enter, and name is countdown, right? And target is countdown, and pattern is, let's have a first here, right? And name is also first, not countdown, because we are using the name as first, and target is countdown. Then I know that which is the target, so I just copy this, and I define this target countdown, and my view is where is the view? View is count down dot countdown, right? And view name is also the same. So this is how I'm loading, and let me just press a refresh. And what do you want? Let's have these generic tiles. No, let's have let me bring some simple code of what do we want. We want an image, right? So image, yeah, this looks okay. So how are the images? Okay, they are using as this. I'll need an image logo. No image, no. We'll add the image for just to check whether it is loading or not. Let's add a button. Okay, a simple button, nothing fancy. Okay, so where is this button? User implemented button. Action sheet, let a button. Finally found it. So let's have I'm just scoping it, right? And I'll have some maybe one button, simple, and inside this button we have just simple text coming soon or whatever, right? And I don't need a flex or something, simple. Okay, so let's just see what does our project look like. As of now it says some error, cannot read property name of null, name of null. So if I go here, another comma mistake, what mistake I have? Yeah, see this comma, I always mix things, right? I have not, once you click, we have not called anything, right? So let's do that. I go to tiles.controller and I say start get owner component dot get router dot nav to route. Let's see if it works. Oh man, coming soon. Wow, so it works, right? So we have is something like but I saw this exception. That's okay. These are very basic one, which is okay. So we have a coming soon one, and you see here the it has also navigated, and if I just go back, we have index, right? And let's so let's now build on this and get this our first step done. So now we have our basic setup ready, so let's start building things. So what do we want? We want is something like an image here, which is of course of SAPUI, and then something like four different what do we say, tiles, and each one will have a countdown timer till, let's say, days, hours, minutes, and seconds. Okay, so what we'll do is if you remember, uh, in our tiles we have already explored our tiles controller, right? The tiles control. Now we will bring in one more control. So that first, let's look at that control. So that control is Css Grid. Okay, and it's like a you have something like 2x2 matrix. Flex control is basically for a single dimension. It's like a two dimension. Okay, and maybe let's start with something like not this, uh, this one, right? I just quickly wanted to take an example where I can show you things. Oh yes. So for example, this, since we are talking about a matrix kind of a thing, so it has rows and column. So how do you want rows? Rows is like you want one fraction, then this should contain the two fraction of the total part, and this should contain one fraction. And for example, if I say that no, all three should be equal, all I just need to do is this, and all three are this. How do I want the columns? I want two columns, one fraction, and if I just say I need one fraction more, right? So now you see this is now arranged here, right? And in same way you can have it in pixels, right? In percentages, for example, you want rows to be 25%, 40%, and 25%, or I can have it as 50%, right? And then you can have it as something like one fraction. So two columns, and then rows width is this, right? And then you can also define it something like min max, where it is more likely how much, based on the label, how much minimum width or column you width you want, or maximum. And you can have a repeat kind of a loop here, right? So it's a new control, so CSS Grid. So we will try to use this in our app. So what we'll have is like a grid with the two rows. First row will contain uh, our SAP logo, and then in second row we'll have those four different grid button, whatever tiles buttons for our countdown timer. So maybe let me just take this example, a simple first one, right? And I go to code. So CSS Grid is also part of layout, so which we already have, right? So I will just go there and I'll go to our this. Well, we don't need this, right? So we need is first of all this namespace. This is already there. Okay, we are good. And what else I want? I want more likely is this grid. Let's just copy paste this first, right? And I put it here. So it is having something like uh, columns like one fraction, then two, and then one. And for me, I want a full fraction, right? And rows is like I want something like first row should be of 200 pixel and second should be of 100 pixel. So two rows of one column each, nothing special. And what do we want in our each row is something which we will write here now. For example, they are right in this case it is just writing a plain HTML content. If you look at this example, it is just writing this as header, navigation, main content, right? And we will have something like an image, right? So maybe let's just have first this, let's have this HTML only. Let's adjust it into a one column two rows thing, and then we will modify it, right? So the code is also there, so I don't need it. So let's say this also I don't need, right? All I need is a header, and I don't need this rest of the stuff. So there is just like two rows, and let's just see. So it shall print header and navigation. So let's just go to here. So here it is like header, navigation. Here it is occupying less space because if you look at its configuration, it has multiple columns and divided apart. One fraction, second fraction, that is two part of a fraction, which is like 50%, and then 25%. That is why you see 25%, 50%, 20%, 25%. But we need is one fraction, which is like 100%. Okay, so let's see how does it look for us. You see it is completely header and navigation, right? So now it is like, so we are displaying one full row, 100% fraction. I want header and I want fraction, which is very good. Now let's change it. So in place of header, I want an image. Which image? Simple. We go to first. Let's search for image one. I will use a. I'm just trying to use the tags and then I will add it. Okay. So we need is a this image, right? So here it is a binded to the location. So which is like the model is being read from this JSON file. JSON file has no, we don't have the JSON file, but we have the SVG, but we'll not use this. What we'll do is let me just copy it and we'll hard code the path. Okay, so image and keep it this, and we'll remove the first one. So image, right? And then I need a SAP logo, right? So maybe let's choose this first one, whether it's old or new doesn't matter, right? For us, copy link address, right? And then I provide a link address here. It's too big. Anyways, I should have opened it. Maybe let me open it. And so maybe let me copy this link address and uh, let's see. So we have the link address. I just press save, it auto reloads, and yeah, we have the logo. But the problem is because this width uh, is less, so that's why it is coming this way. Maybe if I just say that I don't need it, it'll do an auto one, right? Yeah, now we have an auto one. Now next is in place of this navigation, I want around four tiles, and now those will be like arranged like in four columns, but in same row. So that means Uh, Now we need another grid, but this time not with one column, but with one. So what if I just, for demonstration purposes, I'll just copy this and maybe mm, uh, paste here and I remove this. I don't need this. I don't need an image also. Right, all I need is uh, I can write as 25%, 25% also, or one fraction, which means one and the same thing. Grid gap is how much gap between you want within each row. So I need, for example, navigation to be printed 4 times, right? So now you will see navigation, navigation, navigation in like 4 ways. So okay, because I have the same grid ID, most probably that is why it is giving this error. Console is just cross validated, duplicate ID. Good. So that is there in the example. That's why I have it. Otherwise, I don't need an ID as of now. So now, if you see navigation, navigation, navigation. Now this each one is occupying 25% space. What I want is in place of this, we'll have a tile, and inside it you'll have a timer countdown. So let's bring in tiles. So I'll say a generic tile. Here it is, right? And let's see a basic one. How does it look? Let me make it a bit bigger. Not this one. I need with some numbers. Yeah, this one looks better. So with something which is a header, and I can so let it reload. Not reload, let it load. I hope it does. Yeah. So we need this one. Something like this. It'll have days and numbers will keep on changing via a model. So we'll have. Let's copy these. We need 4 tiles, so I have copied just 2 tiles, right? I'll delete this 1 tile and then 4 tiles now we have, and if you look here we shall have 4 tiles. Yeah, now good. So first we don't need an icon, right? And let me remove icon wherever it is, right? Then we don't need a footer text also, as well as unit. We don't need both, right? So I will say just all we need is a header and a counter, right? So I'm just removing it, and here also, plus I don't need a subtitle. Header subtitle I don't need. I'm removing it. And I press save. Let's see what happens. Good. So we have this. Okay, so now let's just, for the timing, we change the heading. So one is, this is, we want it as days. This one as hour, hours, minutes, and seconds. Right. So we are counting till when our what do we say, our SAP ticket is going to start the time, right? So now it's more or less our layout is ready, but our values are not dynamic and neither they are moving. So that's where we need to, I think, move towards now controller, right? And yeah, if you ask me, we could have definitely added these labels in the I18N model, but I think it's okay to have it here as of now. So let's just open the countdown controller, and let me. So we don't need this model, at least not from here. So okay, let's just have. Because I've copied it, the tiles one. So let's just say let my timer is equal to, so what all will we want the field? So we want days, right? So days, which is like 0, we want hours, which is also like 0 as of now, minutes, which is also 0 because these values will get updated dynamically, and seconds, right? 0. Okay, so my JSON model is based on this time, not on uh, JSON file, but on my timer, and its name is timer, right? And in case we need to refer to this, so what we need to do is we'll say my model name is timer and property is days. The first one is days, right? So you just press save now, right? And you see there is 0 now. And in case this is hours, this is minutes, this is seconds. So we are good with the binding, everything is there. I think maybe let's just go back and KPI, 1 second. Let's see, so these are something is written blue, so we will have value color. Let me add this color to our projects also. So we will say value color. That go here. So it is, let's say days are in critical. This one we say hours is with error. Okay, and then do we have any more value color here? Maybe numeric content we can go to that tile. I think this is okay. It's just, yeah, this is okay, I think. Properties, mode, crop, size, view states, a better this icon, tile content. Inside tile content we have footer color, the same like value color. So let's just look at this. So critical, error, and good. Let's have good. So we'll have it as good. Okay, so good is like green. Yeah, green. What else do we have? We have neutral. So by default it is neutral, so it is okay. Now we have 4 different colors. Okay, so I think our timer is good. Our not good. It's the binding is good. Now somehow we need to calculate the time, right? So what I will do is let me rename this function as calculate time, right? And I don't need anything out. Okay, so what do I need? I need as so we have let date let decade date is equal to new date. What date is on decade? It is 8th December if I'm not wrong. SAPUI decade 2020. Just Google. Oh, it's 8th December, 99.99%. That's 8th December, right? So let's just write uh, December 8, 2020. Okay, and then let current date is new date. That's it. And what is the difference? And let difference is decade date dot get time. So this get time function returns you the number of milliseconds from the particular time, those beginning wala one, and minus current date dot get time. Okay, so now we have the difference. Now important is this time is in milliseconds. Maybe before that, what I'll do is I'll just let's try to check it in debugging, because then only it will make sense. So, but before that, I will need to call it. So I call this function, right? And then basically I'm trying to write as a function which will kind of display the will calculate the time till the first 8th December, which is the tech day the ticket starts, and then we'll see how to we keep doing it recursively. So I will just save, and hopefully now things, yeah, it gets called. So if you see the ticket date and current date, so let's just look at in our debugger. So that's where our better position is, right? So ticket date is coming as December, right? And current date is November 2, which is okay. And if I say current date dot get time, right? So it gives me the number of milliseconds time beginning the milliseconds. So this is in milliseconds, right? So now in case I need to get this is a current date, this is take date. So the difference, okay, let's see. Let it go to the difference. So difference is this. So there is a number of milliseconds which are sending since that time, right? Since that take time. So in case we need to calculate, so first we'll say divide by 1000 will give me seconds, and if I divide by 60 it will give me minutes. If I divide by 60 more it will give me hours. If I divide by 24 it will give me days, right? You can see the impact of the bracket. So now if I say this, just like 35 days till decade. So let's see, is it correct? So it's like 5, 6, 5, 7, 7, 14, 21, 23, 26, 29, 28, and then it's like 5, 7, yeah, this is correct one, right? So this is the number of days, right? So maybe what we will do is we'll say let uh, we'll use this another function math dot floor, right, to give us the rounded off figure to the nearest decimal. So mass dot floor, and this will be till this one, right? So this is how the number of days which I have, which are pending till 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 the decade. And now in case, let's look at how many hours are pending, right? So for example, if you remember, we have a modular operator percentage which gives us the remainder, right? Okay, so now let's so percentage give us the remaining thing. So for example, uh, in place of this, if I have percentage, so what it does is it gives me that, okay, these are the number of microseconds. First I get the number of seconds, then I get number of uh, uh, seconds, right, with the minutes. This is the remaining, the percentage one will be the remaining minutes till that time. Then it says the basically this one is the minutes, then the hours, then this will be the day. So whatever seconds are consumed for one day, I I have divided by that. But percentage will give me whatever the remaining seconds which it cannot convert to the days, right? So I get as these many seconds, right? And now if I divide, let's just put here. So these many seconds are pending, right? Which are not we were not able to round off till the day. So now if I divide by 1000 into we get seconds, we divide by 60, we get minutes, and we divide by 60, we get hours, and we want to find hours. So it's like 9 hours 23 minutes. So let me just take a pause and do it again. This logic, what it is I'm applying is like, so using this, I get number of days, 35 days. But this gives me the nearest possible divisor. But what I want is now the days, the hours, right? So how many hours still taken after considering these 35 days? So for that, what I do is that okay, I again use this, but the operator is percentage. I want to work with the remaining one because 35 was already considered the whatever was exactly divisible, but the remainder milliseconds I have to derive the number of hours from it. So that's where this will give me number of milliseconds which are pending apart from the days, and then I divide it by 1,000 to get seconds, then 60 to get minutes, then 60 another 2 hours. So now I hope I have not made it a bit complex, but anyway, so we'll just say let hours is equal to this, right? And again I will go for a floor here because I want to round off to the nearest round of places, right? So I'll say this is these many are the hours. Now on similar lines, I want to find out now I want to find out how many minutes are remaining, right? So what I will do is I'll say the same thing, right? Because whatever is the remainder out of this, because it is this thing is already considered some part, right? So I need to find out what is the remainder out of it. So now earlier we have derived the hours. So what we will do is let me just copy it. That this time I don't want will not use divided by 24. Why? Because 1,000 into whatever is the milliseconds, if we divided by 60 into 60 into 60, that much time is already considered in when converting it to an hour, right? So whatever is the remaining which we get from let me show you again. So these many milliseconds 86 3613 were not considered in 9.2.3, right? So the whatever were left, so I will use that, and then I will say you divided by 1,000 to convert it into seconds, and then you divide by another 60 because 60 seconds is 1 minute, so you have 14 minutes, right? So we'll copy this and I'll say let minutes, these are all remaining stuff, right? So master dot uh, floor this, and we are good, right? Next is so next we go with seconds. So now on a similar line, so what we say is we don't divide it by now remove another 6 because these many were already considered, so remainder is now here, and then I remove this 60 also because you need to divide by 20,000, so you get 23 seconds, right? So that is the logic, and I'll say let seconds. These are variable names should be seconds remaining, minutes remaining, which I believe you can correct it. So it's like this. Okay, so now we have got all these, right? So maybe we can now have something like I could have written in one go also, but anyway, so let's say um, now let's say this dot my timer dot days is equal to days. I think let's not integrate it. So I can directly k and say this dot timer dot days, right? Because it is already available. Why do I need another variable? So I say hours, which is okay, minutes is okay, and seconds is also okay, right? Spelling are wrong, and all I need to say now is this dot get view dot I'll update it, right? Which model we have? We have model is timer, and I'll say set data. So now I just press do a refresh with the set data, and if I just say don't stop anywhere, just execute. I think yes. The class is math, not math. So it's like math, math, and math, and math. Okay, we are good. But while fixing this, I found out we have my timer, right? We haven't defined anywhere timer as an attribute in this, which is assigned to this object, this one, this, right? So how do I do it? So one way is I can have something like this dot timer is equal to my timer, right? Or another way out is I can have directly I can have this dot timer here, okay, and then I have defined this, and now I pass it here also. Then it looks okay, right? So now I just press save and let it reload. I hope now we'll still see something good. So yeah, good. So we have 35 days, 8 hours, 18 minutes, 29 seconds to count down till ticket starts. And if I just do a refresh, you'll see this gets changed, which is good, right? But a countdown timer is something which automatically keeps on, changing. So rather than this, what I suggest is we need to have some kind of an infinite loop, right? So what we can have is we have a JavaScript function named set interval. I think most of you are aware. So all you need to do is you need to pass what function you want to call and at what regular interval. I say I want to call 1000 milliseconds, which is 1 second, and I want to call this function regularly. Uh, then I just press save. Um, mm, yeah, I don't think it will work. Why? Because once you give it a callback, it's like a callback, right? You call it after every 30 seconds. It will not know what this refers to, right? What this context refer to. So it will that refer to then that function, not to this whole class. So what I can do is I can have something like dot bind bracket this, right? Now we see it fly. So now we knows the context. You see it is now counting down automatically, right? 57, 56, we're good. So I think now this is an infinite loop. We can set we have a method also to cancel this interval once this time reaches zero. So we can do it here that when difference is less than zero, then you can basically stop this, right? But I think uh, I'm done with my first basic app, right? The first one is a SAP Tech countdown timer. I think what we learned is we learned about CSS Grid, how water control it is, right? Then how do we bind stuff, right? And tiles we have already learned in our previous one. Then we learned about how do we navigate, right, from one to another one, right? And then we also had a look around how does this bind help us. It helps us in passing the current context and which it will use every time it execute, right? So it's like each time you have this global variable you're passing to it, it's like an access to it which it will call refer to every time. So I think I will stop here, but just to just to look at what we have done, we were able to set our first tile, which we will have a different tiles for every project which we do in SAPUI5, and our first project which is SAP countdown timer, that is also done, right? And while doing this, our first app and setting the context, we were able to explore tiles, layouts, vertical, horizontal, aggregation content. Then we also explored this images, CSS grid, and binding JSON model binding the data to a file, also binding it locally, and then eventually how do we use path the current context. I think it's a good start. So in our next second video, we'll start working on our second project, and I think the intent is to do some good amount of 5-10 projects which will actually help any beginner or anybody who wants to learn more and understand different controls. So thank you. Thanks for watching, and keep sharing, keep learning. Bye bye.